have a Guinness World Record. That's kind of cool.
Are you serious?
So,
what?
Plug and Play itself has 62 locations, bringing these startups from around the world, and they are constantly so impressed with Topeka.
He just bumped into me and didn't say sorry.
You can do anything in Topeka
I
that
agree.
you want.
They didn't say "ope" when we walked through the door together.
Yeah.
All right, we have Lindsay Lebahn, Director of Plug and Play here in Topeka. Let's go.
Let's go.
Thanks for
I'm
being on the
excited.
Thanks for
podcast,
being
Lindsay.
here.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Lindsay,
Yeah.
who is Lindsay Lebahn? Tell us a little bit about Plug and Play.
Yeah. Well, you want me or do you want to Plug and Play?
Give both.
Do both.
Give us
We can
both.
do
Yeah.
both. So Lindsay Lebahn, the person, I am a Topeka transplant. Previously coming from Nashville,
Same. Let's
Tennessee.
go. Let's
yeah.
go.
So Topeka is definitely one of the smallest communities I've ever lived in. Grew up in San Antonio, Texas, and then went to school at URI, played volleyball up there, and then moved to Nashville. From Nashville, came to Topeka, and that's a jump that not a lot of people make.
Yeah, I would say so.
I called it Topeka when I didn't know better,
Wow.
which
Wow.
is terrible. And I'm so
Wow.
ashamed of it now because it truly is what you make of it, right?
This is your
And
public apology
This
tour.
is, yes,
right
I
now.
should, yeah. I'm sorry. I should never have said it. But
To
it's
all
so
those
much more.
who were affected by my actions.
Mostly in Nashville. I never said it here, but
Yeah.
I was just like, they joked about it. They're like, oh, so you're moving to Topeka, Kansas? And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. And I didn't know, you mean, it's not sexy, right?
Right.
And I came from Nashville, which is super sexy.
Well, my
Yeah.
favorite is you can always tell who is not from the area or has not lived in Kansas by those who read it online and call it Topeka.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, we're going to Topeka. Like, no, it's
Or
not. It's called
Topeka. I get Topeka a lot.
Topeka, yeah.
Yeah, it's just Topeka.
Yeah.
Just Topeka, yeah. No, and it's more than I could have ever imagined it would be. And I'm happy to talk through a little bit of my experience when like something that Nashville where most people probably would die to live and what that entails because it's a lot of the same stuff that you have here in Topeka, just at a different
Really?
scale and just,
Wow.
different problems. Like
Right.
every city has their pluses and their minuses. And
Right.
there's not necessarily things that you would think about when it comes to like Nashville or Topeka and some of those things. So I've really, really enjoyed Topeka, but yeah, not from here originally. So I think I appreciate it a little bit more
Yeah.
having experienced other places. Mom of two, I've got a 5-year-old and a
Let's
4-year-old.
go.
Yeah.
They are so funny.
That's all. Boys, girls.
One of each.
Okay,
One of each.
come
My
on.
boy's a sweetheart. My girl, her favorite band is Kiss.
Let's go.
And she just goes, Mama, la. So like, also explains it a little bit.
Love it.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
That's awesome.
I coach volleyball, so always a sports person. Still very active in like the youth community here.
Come
coach
on.
volleyball. So
You said you
very
went to
active.
URI?
URI, University of
What is-
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Yeah,
Okay,
so from Texas to Rhode Island, about
Wow.
as different as I could get.
Yeah.
And you'll learn kind of through this. I'm a yes person, so like a lot of things that have got me to where I am today, it's because I just said yes and like let's
Yeah.
go. Like
Right.
what? Yeah,
Like
say
take
less.
the risk,
Let's go. Yeah,
try it.
Why
put
not?
yourself out there. Love
What could
it.
happen?
Yeah.
I
Love
get
it.
a really good experience. I get to do all this stuff. But yeah, what's the worst that could happen? But like
Love
I don't
it.
ever want to miss out on that opportunity.
Right.
Yeah. And how long
Right.
have you been here, you said?
10 years now.
10
yeah.
years.
Come on.
Yeah, we're
Love
up
it.
on my decade, going on a
Love it.
decade. It's really crazy.
I love it. Okay, so
and
there's
play.
so much there.
Yeah, that's just
And
me.
we were talking off mic about a few things before we started, but maybe before we get into a lot of that, maybe just tell us a little about Plug and Play. What is Plug and Play? What's
Yeah.
your role in it? What is it doing in Topeka? Those kinds of things.
Yeah, so our goal at Plug and Play is to really drive innovation by connecting entrepreneurs, whether that be the startup or the entrepreneur themselves, corporations. You've got the governments, the universities, the VCs, and the entire ecosystem, and really bringing them together in what we like to call open innovation. So that means that you aren't hiding things behind your four walls. It takes every single one of those entities to really move the needle when it comes to innovation. And so we bring them all together. And the easiest way is kind of like a Shark Tank style. So we bring these startups from around the world. Usually we're about half US, half international companies all the way. We've got some coming in from Australia. We've had people come in from Asia. So really, really driving that like global presence.
Cool.
Plug and Play itself has 62 locations with
Wow.
10 of them being in the United States and one of them being in Topeka, Kansas.
Wow. Let's
Yeah.
go. Come
So
on.
it's really cool to kind of be a part of such a global presence, but also making sure that local presence also doesn't get lost. And we really build upon cities that already have a foundation and already know what it takes to make that innovation work and drive. And it's a lot of hard work, right? There's
Yeah.
a lot that goes to it. And we want to just exemplify what is already happening in those communities and in that region. We do it in kind of a vertical or an industry approach. So we are in charge of our animal health and ag tech. That obviously fits being in the heartland.
Right.
But we also know that there's plenty of entrepreneurs that aren't in that spot that we don't serve immediately, but we can because we've got other industries. So we serve.
So you can like connect them with other.
Yeah. So just because I'm not going to be your one point of contact,
Right.
I've got a colleague who's in finance and does all of our fintech partnerships and can get you connected in. So we've connected a lot of local entrepreneurs into our ecosystem that necessarily weren't animal health or ag tech.
Interesting. So how does that start? So is it like, if I'm like, hey, I have an idea for a business or a service or a technology, I kind of come to you, or is there like an application or something? Like I come to you and basically start a conversation.
Yeah.
And you just kind of see where it goes.
See where it goes. Yeah. We're a little bit further advanced. So you have to have an MVP, a minimal viable product. So it can't be the idea stage necessarily.
Okay.
But
yeah.
we're everywhere from pre-seed all the way up to like Series C and beyond.
What does any of that mean?
Lots of money that they've raised and are like
Okay.
established companies, right? So we go from basically you have to have a concept of an idea. We aren't helping formulate that, but we work with
Right.
SBDCs and we work with Topeka and we work with OmniCircle and we work with all these other people that kind of can fill that gap.
Okay, they
We
can get
take
people
it-
off the ground, and you're taking people who have just gotten off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And so
That's awesome.
our model is we invest early. So we have our own family fund. So we do invest. We're one of the largest investors. But it's not guaranteed investment. But we take startups and take them through a 3-month program and get them connected to mentors, get them connected into K-State, because a lot of them have never heard of K-State or KU, getting them, with interns at Washburn and getting all these hands-on tactical events and things like that. Take them from that and then get to also connect them into our corporate partners. So our corporate partners are a really big portion of that. And for the startup, they're like, I get a chance to meet Hill's Pet Nutrition.
Right.
Like this has been on my bucket list
Cool.
forever. And we know that we've sourced them for that technology. We know that it's a fit. So now it's just how can we get those pilots and those POCs going so that you can actually get this out to the market. So we usually work 5 years out from shelf life. So we
Gotcha.
are working horizon 2, 3. So 5 years out. So think of what the world was like 5 years ago. That's when these technologies were first introduced to Hills and to Cargill and
Yeah.
to some of our corporate partners.
Wow.
And the world doesn't even know about them yet,
Right. Yeah.
which is just, talk about mind blowing.
Yeah.
And again, sometimes it's easy to get lost, especially with innovation, because it's so gray. It's everything and nothing all at the same time. But a lot has to happen in order for these things to work, and in order for the end consumer to finally touch it and feel it. There's a lot of testing. There's a lot of validation that has to go into play. There's a lot of research. So that has to go through so many different processes before any of us even know about it.
So when you, I love the Shark Tank analogy.
Yeah.
That obviously for a non-investor entrepreneur, makes a lot of sense. Is there ever actually kind of a Shark Tank environment where, like, obviously not like a show, but like where there's all the people in the room?
Yeah.
And they're talking in the room with venture capitalists and
Yep.
other
We
types
have
of people?
we host an event here every June. It's our expo, and it's where our startups get up on stage and do a 4-minute pitch like you would see on Shark Tank.
Oh, so it
Wow.
actually
It
is
actually
like
happens.
a Shark
Yeah,
Tank.
truly.
Oh, wow.
We don't get to cut the check right then and there,
Right.
but
Yeah.
there has been
And
a
do
couple
they
local
just like
investors.
shred them to pieces, like in the
No,
show?
we
It's
don't
like-
do Q&A is hard in like bigger groups. So
Right.
it's a little bit, you have to like run a mic and it's never,
Right.
it's kind of
Yeah.
clunky.
Yeah.
But we've had local investors that have invested in our companies, which
Come
is
on.
really, really cool to see.
That's awesome.
Even though they aren't in the animal health, like this person is just an angel investor and they
Sure.
like the technology. They saw it at our event and
Yeah.
got to invest.
Are there any businesses here in Topeka that people would recognize that have gone through Plug and Play and got capital from them?
Not here locally, no. But the way Plug and Play got its start was our founder and CEO had a rug shop in Palo Alto, and there was above the rug shop there was a little office space, and he was working with a couple of entrepreneurs, and they're like, "Hey, we need office space, but we don't have any money to pay for it. Like, can we just trade equity in our company, and we can take over that?" And he's like, "Tell me about your company," and started asking about it. That was Google.
What? Are you serious?
So-
What?
That worked out really well. And
Oh
then-
my
He didn't
god.
ask for enough.
That's
right.
insane.
And so through the
Wow.
talks with Google, he kept saying, like, he kept bragging at the golf course, like, hey, these two dudes are really up to something above my rug shop. Like,
wow.
you guys need to meet them. And so that's kind of where this idea of plug and play came, was like, it takes everyone. It takes the guys on the golf course that don't know anything about the technology, but maybe have the funds to care and investing. It takes the corporations who are looking for this kind of technology. Wow. They're like, hey, we've got it right here. So yeah,
that's wild.
When it's really easy when Google's your first investment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really easy.
You got a lot of street cred right there.
Oh yeah, man, that's wild. Like, how do you just not peak at that point? Like, you just kept going.
Well, then the next one was like PayPal and Logitech, because they were all friends. Like, all those founders kind of worked together and were able.
Like PayPal, when like Elon was involved. Like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Man,
interesting.
What a small world. That's
well,
insane.
as someone who records Shark Tank and watches their seasons diligently, I'm super fascinated just taking in all this information.
Takes notes watching Shark Tank?
Absolutely. My wife thinks I'm the weirdest person ever, where, she comes home and I'm just watching episode 14 of season 16 of Shark Tank. And she goes, exactly. She goes, you are a nerd and you need to quit it.
No, but it's so fascinating. These people have come up with ideas to problems that why didn't I think about that?
Yeah.
Or maybe I did think about it and I was like, I'm too lazy to do it. It takes a lot of work to get these things off the ground. But it's truly incredible. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Like, you always want to be the dumbest one in the room, and I am. And
I know.
I've never been happier. And it's so cool to see.
Here's a question. So I feel like some people are just meant to be entrepreneurs and some aren't. And so I just met you 30 minutes ago. Do you, being surrounded by all these ideas, do you ever think like, I want to do that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm too tired. I know too much, right? Like, I know how hard it is. These entrepreneurs work day in, day out. We work globally. So some of them are taking meetings at 2 a.m. their time.
Yeah.
Because they want to do business in the U.S. And to do business in the U.S., you have to do it at weird times, especially if you're Pacific Standard Time and you're in Australia.
Right. Yeah.
So like, entrepreneurs do not get enough credit for how hard it is. It's like the iceberg, right? You see the peak and you're like, that's really impressive, but you have no idea what's underneath that iceberg and what has all gone into it. It's almost even more impressive the further down you dig and the further down you see. Yeah. So like, think of every time you see an entrepreneur, a small business, think of them as an iceberg. And like, even if you're impressed, there is so much more to them that that you should be impressed about that you don't even see.
Yep.
Wow.
So no. And I'm so thankful for them. And I always tell them that.
Yeah.
Like, I could never. And even if with my ideas, I'm like, I'll sell you my idea. I don't want to do it. Like, I think sometimes I have some better ideas now that I'm like, I look at problems a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
wow.
You could solve for that, but back to my 2 kids, I'm tired.
Right.
And I don't know, like, there's a lot that comes with that.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy. I remember I had a friend in college who, as a college student, came up with this like product basically and like started a company while we were in college. And I was like, you can do that? Like, what are you doing? And like had a physical product and that she invented. And it was like this, it was for dogs. It was called the paw wash. And it was like this little thing that you would like, it was like a tube with brushes inside that you'd wash your dog's paws with. And she like had a commercial on TV. I was like, I didn't know you could like, it's like actually like made it happen. And I was like, my brain does not work like that. This is crazy.
Yeah. I think even you, we've had this conversation I think it was with the Save Souls guy and how he was just an entrepreneur just growing up. And you're like, my brain does not, how to make money doing this or start a business.
He was talking about how his dad gave him like $80 to do a lemonade stand as a kid and he made $500. And I was like, there's nothing in me that would know how to do that. Like, take $80 and come up with $500.
Yeah.
Like, I would have just wasted $80.
Right. Here's $80 in 2 weeks. You need to make $500. How do you do that? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I am so impressed with entrepreneurs and people. I have friends, their brains just work like that. They're coming up with ideas like, oh, someone could start a business like that. I'm like,
but the more I'm around them, the more I do know that they need us non-entrepreneurs in their lives.
Yeah. Yep.
So like, there's still a lot of value that I find like the very first deck I looked at, which is like a pitch presentation, right?
Yeah.
I look at it, it's got 7 different colors, 7 different fonts. It's way too nerdy. And I was like, who put this together?
Papyrus fonts. Like, what are you doing? Stop it.
So like, I was like, they do need us in some level of this, right? It does take everyone.
Right, yeah.
But I definitely am with you that my brain just is not like that.
Yeah.
But the connector, and they need that ecosystem. And, we're lucky enough to bring these startups from around the world, and they are constantly so impressed with Topeka and the Midwest hospitality that we have here. And I think sometimes we take that for granted.
So good, yeah.
Because we're used to it, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you spend any time in New York, you're just like, God, these people just don't even care about me,
Yeah.
right? They're kind of rude.
So mean.
You just bumped into me and didn't say sorry.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't tell me like my
Exactly.
shirt, didn't ask where it was from or if it was on sale. Like
Right.
what?
They didn't say "ope" when we walked through the door together.
Yeah. Scooch right past you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. It's yeah. I came across this personality test one time that we use, and it basically puts you in one of four quadrants. And one is like you develop ideas. One is you develop people. One is you work with people, and one is you work with ideas. So like working with ideas is like you're administrative. Working with people is like, you know, maybe like a counselor, or like, you know, you can be with people, developing people, like coaching, helping them grow. Well, so the one is like entrepreneurs. Like you come up with ideas, you're pitching new ideas, you have ideas but you need all four. Like all four are so valuable, you know, and yeah, it's interesting how just different people are wired. It's amazing.
It is.
So what's the craziest business that you've watched a pitch for come through your guys' doors?
Okay. My favorite one is from our first batch. It's called Stenco, which stands for Saving the Earth Now. He was in pharmaceutical sales and developed long-term drugs that could just release in the body, like Advil that, you know, takes a while to release.
Okay.
That same technology he used, he put his coffee in the morning and he had the little K-cups and he put it in and he was like, that is so much plastic. That is just not getting recycled, not going anywhere. How can we figure out a better alternative for this plastic like use case? The long-term activation in the drug, he took that, was in his garage with like Everclear in one hand and like another thing in another hand and making some kind of chemist concoction. He's also from Alabama, so all this checks, right? This checks.
Yeah. He's in like a meth trailer, like cooking stuff. Yeah.
That's basically, I was like, oh, okay, Rob White. Like, is it Rob White? Is that his name?
Walter White.
Walter White, yeah.
I was like, Rob doesn't sound right, but it sounds a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was basically Breaking Bad in his little garage making this concoction.
What are those blue crystals you got there, buddy?
But basically what he takes is an additive that is added to cardboard or paper, and it makes it as strong as plastic, but it biodegrades.
Wow.
Which is really impressive.
Wow.
So think of your like styrofoam tray. Styrofoam is really bad. It's not recyclable.
Right.
Their goal is to have it withstand, but it can't have any oxygen in it because it can't break down. So you can't go to pick up your meat and have it like break through because it's soggy.
Right. Oh.
So you're trying to find a replacement for that. He actually just got acquired this year. So 5 years in from the idea, he was able to work with a lot of our corporate partners. And then I got to go down to an Alabama football game and celebrate with him for getting acquired, which is really, really cool. But like, again, he was, having these big conversations with Cargill about those like meat trays.
Wow. Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I sprayed on the technology. Like I sprayed it on. It worked and it passed all their tests. He's like, but I want to make it better. He's like, I need a way to like dry it faster. So we went to Home Depot, got like 2 rack trays, had a hair dryer attached to it, and ran a conveyor belt through. And I'm like, this is like, that's the kind of, your brain just doesn't, my brain doesn't work like that.
Right.
Wow. Is he like an engineer type guy?
Yeah.
Like, cool.
Just into that.
Are we allowed to know who acquired him?
Tarum. So they basically make the trays. And so his whole thing was he's the additive.
Wow.
Right? But he still had to go through a third party. So think of an example. This is why it takes the whole ecosystem, right? So like he's working with Cargill. Cargill's like, this is really great. We love it. But we don't make trays. We make meat.
Right.
But you need the tray to go on the meat.
Right.
So then you have to work through another company. So even if Cargill loved it, they don't have the trays.
Right.
So you have to go through a supplier. So really his supplier, but you gotta get strong-armed by Cargill to change everything.
Right.
But yeah, so it's really cool partnership.
That's
so
wild.
then they just acquired him.
Cargill's
Like, hey, we'll
huge.
do this whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's wild.
So you're not being an entrepreneur, but you have an inside look into all of these entrepreneurs, their successes, their failures. What's one piece of advice that you would give to an entrepreneur trying to grow a business?
Reach out. Ask for help. I think so many of them they've thought of it. They're really proud of their technology. But I think the more that you can ask, I think especially here in the Midwest, everyone wants to help. And sometimes they don't even know how to help.
Right.
Especially if you are in one specific, and ask outside of your focus area. You know, if you're a fintech person, it doesn't matter. Anyone can do marketing. Anyone could do, everyone's got connections with everything. So I think making sure that you are present and that people aspect of it kind of gets lost a little bit because they are so heads down. A lot of times you're working with founders and this is their baby. This is their livelihood.
Right.
And so they are head down focusing, and all of us could do this, right? I could sit at my desk and knock out my whole to-do list and not talk to a single person every single day.
Right.
And still feel like I got a lot of things done.
Yeah, totally.
But I think that human interaction and that like your network, like your people are your network. And the more outspurts that you have, you know, with me, I want to be connected to as many people as possible because I want to make that connection. And that Midwest hospitality of, I don't know who can help you, or I can't help you, but I know who can help you. Right.
Yeah.
And let me connect you. And everyone wants the human nature part of us. I was a psych major. Everyone wants to be that helper. So everyone wants to be that connection in. So,
that's so
even
true.
if it's not me, I want to connect you to somebody else because I want to be that selfishly. I want them to see the value in me connecting you.
Right.
And knowing that I'm a value part of that value chain over here.
Feeling like you did something that was important and valuable. Yeah.
So I always think like that human interaction is lost a lot. And I think all of us, like, we should be getting coffee or lunch with friends and colleagues way more than we do, right? We end up being like, I need this business task and I need to ask this, and not just like, hey, how's life? Like, where is this at? And that always gets pushed back. So I think especially when you're hyper focused and, you know, a lot of their runways are a year to 2 years out. Like they don't know if this thing is going to exist in 5 years. And so they have to be heads down and tunnel vision. But if they can come up for air every now and then, and I think it'll be good for their soul. I think it's good for their connection and their ecosystem.
Yeah. That's great. So we were talking beforehand. Could we get into some of the stuff we talked about beforehand?
Yeah.
So
let's go.
Because I have a kind of a question at the end of this I won't really want to ask you, but also it's very interesting. You were telling us about some pretty cool experiences that you've had outside of Plug and Play.
Yeah.
And you have a certain record.
Yeah.
Could you tell us about that?
Yeah. So I always, you know, the icebreakers, like, what's a fun fact about you? And I don't know. I used to play volleyball. Like that was kind of like my go-to.
Did you play college volleyball?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. So which is cool. I mean, but it's nothing like, I don't know. It's not that fun. No, it's like being left-handed. It's just what I did. I don't know. I'm not left-handed, but like, it's just a trait, right? I don't know. I was good at volleyball and that was it.
I played left-handed volleyball.
But now I actually get to have one. So now I always love that question.
So what's your fun fact?
I have a Guinness Book of World Record.
What? That is insane.
Yeah.
That is insane. Guinness World Record holder
Guinness
in the building.
Book of World Record
Can that be
holder.
my title? So like I know I'm the director of Plug and Play.
Yeah,
but can it be like
absolutely.
Lindsay Lebahn?
Yeah, it'll have like tape
World
with marker
record
over it,
holder.
like
Yeah,
world record holder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now we've held the suspense. Tell us what it is.
Yeah, so I lived in Nashville for 4 years previously before coming to Topeka. And while I was there, I worked for the Academy of Country Music Awards, and we put on the world's largest award show in AT&T Stadium in Dallas.
Wow. That's
So I was a
wild.
part of the planning committee. I was part of the ops execution. I worked with all of our corporate sponsors, so like in-show moments and things like that. So had a good time. But yeah,
Wow.
What does
Anyone?
largest
That's
mean?
exactly
Like
what I
most
was about to
people
ask.
there?
most
Yeah.
people there. Yeah, so I should know the number, but
Do you know ballpark number?
90 something thousand.
Wow.
90
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
78 to 90. I don't remember. It was one of those numbers. So yeah.
A lot.
A lot.
Of
At
people.
And
AT&T Stadium?
At AT&T Stadium. And so award shows are hard because you want it to be, people paid a lot of money to go there.
Yeah.
And so you want them to have a great time. But what constitutes them as having a great time, you also have to have it live on TV. And so like that is a whole different ball game. And that doesn't do well for stadiums. So like think about football. You've got the commentator. That is what you hear. You don't hear the crowd noise, but we have to play live music that also sounds great. You can't blast people's ears out, but you can't also make it sound terrible online for the viewers because that's another audience that you want to capture.
Yeah.
So yeah, we trucked in 19 loads of 18-wheel trailers with full of sound, and that was just
Like
sound.
speakers,
Microphones, all that, so that hopefully it sounded good, and it sounded great internally. On TV, it was awful. And all you could hear, all the mics picked up everyone singing their hearts out to George Strait
Yeah.
like while they were in there. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's
So
funny.
the average person watching streaming online
Oh,
could
hated
only
it.
hear like grandma
Hear me.
singing.
Like,
in
and
the
you don't want to hear
stadium.
me sing.
Country road. Like, stop.
That's
So,
funny.
yeah.
I mean, what a cool experience though.
Such a cool experience. And like I said, that was my fourth show that I had done.
Wow.
It used to be out in Vegas, but that was definitely a learning experience. It's something cool.
Can you map out a little bit of your like progression? So
Yeah.
I'm
all over the map.
From Texas?
Yeah.
You're from Texas. You went to school in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
You landed in Nashville. What were you doing in Nashville? Like you were putting on these huge events? Like,
Yeah, I worked for the ACM. So I'm a yes person. And I think a lot of my career path, if you tried to follow a dotted line, everyone, it's got ADD, right? It's just here, there, it's everywhere. But the common denominator is I'm a people person and I'm a yes person. I think there's a lot of value in saying yes. I think you've got to be protective of your no's too, right? But so many things happen when you say yes.
Right.
And I think that's kind of where it's gotten me. It's like, hey, do you want to leave Texas, leave everything you know and go play volleyball in the small estate that's really cold and really far away from home? Yes. Right? Like,
Love
and
it.
I've got, I just went back. I've been gone for 12 years now, but we just went back for a wedding and got to see all my teammates from all over the world now.
That's cool.
From there, it's like, okay, what's your job? And I was like, I don't know. I like people. I like people things. I like events. Ended up putting myself out there. I flew to Nashville to do interviews. I was living back home in Texas. Flew to Nashville. I was like, hey, I'm in town. Like, I can do interviews whenever. Like, yeah, just hit me up.
Right.
Had 3 or 4 interviews and then ended up working. And they're like, oh, so do you live here? And I'm like, no.
I do
but
now.
I'm here. Yeah, like I'm here. So got a great opportunity there.
That's cool.
I ended up learning how to say yes a lot there because they didn't necessarily care if you came, which was that was really hard for me to transition to Topeka. But they didn't care, like you'd get invited to, Dirk Bentley's #1 release party. And if you said yes, you'd keep getting invited. But if you said no, you'd kind of fall to the bottom of the list and not get invited back.
Right.
And they didn't really care if you showed up. They just wanted a packed house.
Right.
Yeah.
And me being, the bottom of the totem pole, I was like, heck yeah, I'm going to all these things that I can go to.
Yeah.
But you never knew what it was, and it was always last minute. And so I basically lived out of my car, and I still do. It's a habit that I haven't broken yet, and I won't break with my kids now. But
Your husband's like, dude, like,
why do you
can
have a ball
unpack
gown?
your luggage.
Yeah, why do you have a ball gown in the back of your car? I was like, what if somebody needs me to be out of he's like, no one's going to need you to have a ball
Your
gown in
suitcase
Topeka.
is in your car. Should I be scared? Like, what's going on? Like, I'm not leaving. It's just how I live.
But you just never knew. It was like, hey, we got last minute concert tickets to the symphony. Who wants to get them?
cool.
I'm like, I got a dress in the car. I can
Yeah.
be there at 5. Yes.
Yeah.
What do you need? Or like, hey, there's Soul Cycle's having a riding class to celebrate Florida Georgia Line. Like, who wants to go? I'm like, my workout gear's in my car. I can go.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But I became this yes person.
That's awesome.
And I needed to do that. And then when I came here, I became a yes person, but I wouldn't always go to those things. And then people
Right.
noticed when I was gone. They're like, hey, you didn't show up. And I was like, oh, it matters.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, well, you said you were going to be there. And I was like, oh, I don't want to be
so
a
slightly
flight.
different than the
Yeah.
Nashville. Oh, I see what you're
Right.
saying.
Like,
yeah.
if you say you're going to be there,
yeah.
I expect like your name tag's printed and I want you
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Like I'd never
Right.
had a name tag before because they didn't care.
Right.
They just wanted
Yeah.
bodies and seats. It didn't matter. Again, back to the
Yeah.
the Midwest, and it's the connection and like
Right.
if you say you're going to do this,
Right.
I expect you there.
Right.
And so it just that was a huge learning curve for me coming to Topeka.
Yeah.
Being an outspoken yes person,
Yeah.
you've had to have seen Yes Man, right?
Yes.
Gosh, that
Yes.
show's funny. Have you seen that?
Oh,
movie?
it's
is.
so good. Yeah.
It's so
hilarious.
good.
Yeah.
It is so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I love it because I'm honestly, I'm kind of the same way. Like in college, I had a friend tell me one time, he like basically put a name to it, and I didn't realize like, oh yeah, that is kind of how I am. And it was basically that he's like, hey, you're generally not the one like instigating like, hey, let's all go do this, but you're the first one to say, yeah, I'm gonna go do that with you.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's so valuable because it like basically lends credibility to then everyone else doing it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like the friend, it's like, hey, let's all go do this. Let's all go do it. I'm like, I'm in, let's do it, you know? And it was just,
funny.
it was
You're the
such
first
a
yes,
helpful way to, such a helpful way to live. So
See, I'm the other guy. I'm the guy who's got all these ideas. I'm like, we should do this. We should do this. And then, we need guys like you to back up our
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah.
Like, hey, John, do you want to start a Topeka podcast?
I was like,
100%.
and this is
I'm
why
in.
it works.
I'm in.
This
Let's
is
do
why it works.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Well, I was going to ask you, dang it. Oh, I was gonna say in the Midwest, one of the differences between what you're saying about like yes and it doesn't matter really if you show up. one of my pet peeves as a Midwesterner, I've been in the Midwest since I was 12, so I'm basically a, almost born and raised Midwesterner, is when I invite someone somewhere, the worst question that you can ask is, well, who's going to be there?
Am I not enough?
Exactly. You're like, well, now you're uninvited. It doesn't matter anymore. Like, I don't even want you there.
Immediately blacklisted.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, that to me is like what gets you blacklisted from future invites. If you're ever like, well, who's going to be there? Erased.
That's
erased
funny.
from my phone. Like, you don't exist anymore.
The other hard question, especially in the Midwest, is like, what's the dress code? I'm like, I don't know. There's going to be jeans and there's going to be ball gowns. And I can't tell you. But like the same event is going to have everywhere from jeans and ball gowns.
Yeah.
So just show up in whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. My least favorite response to that is I'll let you know. It's like, what do you mean you're going to let me know? What are you doing?
What's
Right.
What, you're going to let me know like in 5 minutes after you talk to your wife, or let me know like an hour before the event? Like, what else you got going on? Like, don't shop around your what you can do that day. Or you want to be there or you not want to be there?
I just had this happen to me last night. So today's Monday. On a Sunday night, I had a group of friends that were hanging out, and there was like one friend who was like the last minute maybe, like non-committal, like all week we're texting about this thing and like would never respond. And then finally last minute, it was like, hey, I was gonna come, but I just realized I double booked, so I can't go. And I was like, wait, you double booked, but you're canceling ours.
Yeah.
You cancel the other one. Like, why do you got to cancel ours?
Yeah,
why that's messed. Like, I don't know if I'm going to invite you next time, Like, so, yeah. The Midwest, it is an interesting, like, learning curve. The Midwest hospitality thing.
The language, we talked about the OPE earlier.
Right,
we had to prepare some of our startups that are coming in. We're actually hosting an event next Monday, and we're having 5 startups come in. And we had to tell them, like no yes is different than yes, no. Like, yeah, no.
Right,
or
right.
No, yeah. Like, no, yeah means yes. Yeah, no means no. And
that's
like,
funny.
Oh,
do you, actually, on this note, I wonder if, tell me if this is a thing or not. It might not be a thing, but I wonder, like it seems like small talk actually carries a lot of weight in some circles. Like, cause it's like, hey, I want to have some rapport with you. Like, so just being able to chat for a sec about, not maybe the main reason we're here, but just like, hey, who are you? What do you, not even just like weather small talk, but just like, hey, tell me about your life. And it's not like getting down to business. And so I wonder, have you found that plays into account in any like people that maybe aren't used to that, or like, hey, I'm just here for business. You're like, well, actually you gotta like, some of that matters.
We talk about that a lot. I'm actually hosting an event for our startups, and a lot of it is talking about that. And again, their whole job is to knock down doors, sell their product, like get the product, and they're so proud of it. And a lot of them, I'm like, listen, you got to dumb it down for us. I always tell them, I'm like, pitch to me like I'm your grandma. Like, I need grandma's version. I need to be able to tell people what you do. And using all these terms and scientific terms, like I have no idea like what that means. But then the other thing we talk about is a lot of times, whether you're investing, like we invest in founders, not necessarily technology.
Yeah.
So like you could have the best technology, but if you aren't a good founder, you're not going to make it.
Yeah, we got to believe in you.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's what Laura Grenier says on Shark Tank.
See?
I invest in the entrepreneur.
You knew. Yeah.
I'm like, Lori and I
true.
would hit it off great. You invest in me, Lori.
So Plug and Play has 30 unicorns, which means that you are $1 billion valuation. And of those 30, I think half of them are the same company that we invested in originally.
Wow.
Because they've pivoted and they've changed with the market.
Okay,
or they got a big corporate partner and then they were able to do X, Y, Z. But so many of them pivot and they, find a different industry or a different application because of research that's been doing. So they are flexible enough. And I think startups, need to be more flexible. They they come in and thinking like, I'm an animal health startup. Okay. Well, can you be a packaging startup too and reach other people? Can this be applied to human health? Can this be applied to other, other facets of your business? Can you spin off one portion of it? But again, it's hard because it's chicken or the egg, but like they have to be laser focused because they only have so much time and so much runway left. But then they also need to be flexible enough to understand that like there might be applications out here that I myself have not thought of because it's not my forte.
Right.
Yeah.
And that only comes from talking.
Yeah. So it's basically about like seizing the right opportunities.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if this is the opportunity, then let's be laser focused. But if this other more valuable opportunity comes up, let's have the flexibility to adjust.
Yeah.
Is that kind of?
Yeah. And that's like where like mentorship comes in. You know, you see a lot of like trusted advisors and, you know, making sure like, yes, the CTO and the CEO are laser focused, but you've got a sales team that out there is like, you know, things like plug and play where you get introduced to 20 different industries. Like, oh, let's utilize them and see if they have anything that we could just dip our toe in and see if that works. If not, great, no harm, no foul. You know, you see, you know, new materials in packaging, sustainability is always going to be a big thing. AI is going to be a big thing where that can affect everyone. You know, everyone is going to be affected by that, no matter your industry. But the thing that I love about the plug and play spot is that we do have all these 20 industries that fall under our umbrella. So we are able to kind of see what are some trends that are in the agri-fintech space. You know, we created a whole new program called Seed for Growth for the Farm Credit Institute because it needed, and it was not just ag tech, it was not just fintech, it was a specific kind of challenges that they were facing. And we were able to kind of laser in and see that because we have our fintech team working with them and we had me working with them. And we're like, hey, let's not duplicate this. Let's create something super custom for them. And so that's on the corporate side. You know, so we help the startups, yes, but we also help the corporate partners. So we act as their external team and go, and I always say it's a lot like dating. They give us a tech problem. So they say, hey, we want sustainable packaging. Packaging is always easy because there's not a lot of technical terms. So I use packaging a lot. It's a lot more than packaging, but for the consumers, and it's just easier to break down. We need biodegradable packaging that breaks down in 7 days and is made in the US. And they give us that statement. I'm like, okay. We go out and we find startups from all over the world that match that and can do that. So they aren't looking, so then our corporate partners know I'm not having to filter through startups that are just recyclable and not biodegradable or aren't made in the US, and it cuts down their lead time and they know exactly what's going on. So it's a lot like dating where it's like, if you want tall, dark, handsome men that are lawyers in Topeka, Kansas, you're going to have a few.
Right.
But if you just want tall, dark, handsome men, yeah, we got plenty.
Sure.
You know? And so like, what's a sweet spot of like the ask needs to be too narrow, but it can't be too far either. You know, you still want them to be in Kansas. You still want them to be, you know, maybe even in Topeka.
Yeah.
So you kind of set that radius of what they're looking for. And we go out and search for those startups. And so that's a really cool thing because then the startups know like, I'm exactly what this company needs.
Wow.
And the company knows that too.
Wow.
So, okay, how often do businesses come to you guys versus you find them because of a corporate partner needing something?
We find a lot of them.
That's what I was.
We search out loud. So we work a lot with universities and just like ecosystem partners. So like, you know, working through Pipeline and working through Nexus and a couple of other accelerator programs that are here in the state. You know, they'll have technologies and we'll put them into our ecosystem and make sure that we know those startups too, even if they are sports tech or even if they, you know, are human performance and they might be supply chain. So we really work to try and get as many of those in. But when we first launched, we launched in animal health, which is very niche, but it got very much branded. This is animal health. And a lot of people were like, well, I'm fintech. Like a lot of corporate partners are like, I'm fintech. We can still work with them. We can still service them just from our other verticals, but we can still have that innovation happen right here in Topeka.
Wow.
I have a question, and maybe we can switch over to Topeka a little bit. Who's the biggest name entrepreneur that you've met? If you've met any, I guess I imagine you've kind of crossed paths with quite a few.
Paths. Yeah. I'll have to get back to you. I'm trying to think of who like the biggest name in the entrepreneurship world. We got a tour of NVIDIA from their CEO, which was kind of cool.
Wow.
We got to tour. Yeah, we get to tour. We're based out in Silicon Valley, so it's really fun to go out there and just see like the buzz that's happening there.
Right.
And it's just crazy because you, as an outsider, you just know what's like. Oh my gosh, like that coffee date's probably going to lead to something. Like I know what's happening there.
Wow.
But they always Silicon Valley.
Business
They always wear vests for some reason. Like vests are really big, and like
like suit vests or sweater vests?
Sweater vests, like just open zip up vests are like just really big.
Huh.
They call it Silicon Valley Smart. That's what they wear.
Oh my gosh.
So again, back to like, what do you wear? And they're like, it's Silicon Valley Smart. And I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Like, you can't catch me in a vest.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Well, switching gears maybe to Topeka. You've been in Topeka for 10 years.
10 years.
What we usually save this towards the end, but I feel like you've seen a lot.
Yeah.
What is something that you think Topeka is missing?
Confidence.
Okay. Yeah, I was even thinking more of businesses.
Oh,
but that's a great answer. I didn't say that.
No, you haven't heard of the coffee shop called Confidence?
Confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Confidence. That's really funny.
Well, let's get into that. What do you mean by that?
I think a lot of Topeka has been here, which is good, but they've never experienced, or a lot of them have not experienced life outside of Topeka.
Sure.
And some of the same things happen in every other city. Like
Yeah.
Nashville, I think if you asked 90% of Topeka if they want to live somewhere, a lot of them would say Nashville. Or you'd be like, hey, you want to live in Nashville? They're like, absolutely.
Sure.
You're still running into the same issues that you have here. And some that you don't even have here, right? Like so much of the city and the town are what you make of it.
Right.
And I don't think that we have this like little brother, little sister complex because we have Kansas City, and not using Kansas City as like to our favor. It's an hour away.
Right.
In the big cities in San Francisco, we have people drive an hour to work and back every single day, and they are going 20 miles.
Right.
Like it truly takes miles or minutes here, which is we're super lucky for.
Right.
But we act like it's, Neptune to go to Kansas City, and we just roll our eyes and it's, everything is happening there. Like, or hey, you can afford a house in Topeka, Kansas, and you can also still go to dinner in the same night in Kansas City. So like,
Right.
while we're lucky to have someone so close that has everything that we're missing. And I don't think we utilize that to our benefit. I don't think people realize that because, they've grown up here, and an hour seems like a long drive. Like coming from Texas, like my nearest middle school was 30 minutes away. Like it's just,
Wow.
things are just more spread out, or
Right.
it takes a lot more time to get there.
So
if it's
instead of
not.
feeling the pressure to imitate or
Yeah.
like, oh, we need to be Lawrence or Kansas City, just hey, let
They're
Kansas
part
City
of our
be
family.
what it is.
They're a
That's
cool
great.
they're a cool sister.
That's great.
And we
Yeah.
get to like utilize our cool sister and utilize her closet for the cool clothes.
Yeah.
But we still get to be ourselves.
That is a great metaphor.
Thanks.
That is funny.
If you don't, I'm
Yeah.
a metaphor kind of person.
it.
But like let's utilize her for her cool clothes and her cool closet, but let's still be us.
Yeah.
And we have things to offer that they don't either.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I have a lot because I grew up in Texas, and then my mom's always asking, when are you gonna move back? And I was like, have you seen the housing prices?
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the cost of living. And that's something that
Is pretty
every
amazing.
big city is struggling with, because the cost of living is so dang high. And that is something that we have to our advantage, and we do not use it. Like you can afford a house and drive 30 minutes to lunch or dinner or shopping or whatever, but you can actually afford a house. That's one of the big reasons when Jake and I were dating, like, is it going to be Nashville? Is it going to be Topeka? And I was like, well, we'll never afford a house in Nashville. You already have a house in Topeka. Like worst case scenario, we live in Kansas City and I drive, like you drive in. And he always said, he's like, we can always live in Kansas City. And coming back to where I called it Topeka, I always thought I'd live in Kansas City. But why would I? I can now afford to go out and do all the things. I can afford to travel and I have a home. And, Topeka has everything you need. I think I've appreciated it a lot more as I've grown up, as I have kids, and like,
Right.
I'm not going to the club every day.
Right.
I wasn't going to the club every day before that, but
Every other day.
yeah. Once a week at least.
Yeah, I have some clients who are, so I'm a realtor.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I have a very healthy appreciation for the real estate prices here compared to Kansas City and Lawrence.
Yeah.
I have some clients who moved here from Texas, bought a home, are moving back to Texas 4 or 5 years later. And it's very rare you'll see someone buy their second home that's smaller than their first home. It's always, you're always kind of going up.
Yeah.
And they have no choice. They have to buy a smaller home in Texas, and it's killing them.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we used to have 2 beds or 2.5 bathrooms, and now we have to go to buy a house with 1. And it's like, yeah, that's
what
tough.
You live in that every single day. And that affects you every single day. So like, yeah, we don't have clubs and we don't have some like as much shopping as Kansas City, but okay.
Right.
Like we don't have to. You've
Right.
got Kansas City, you've got Lawrence,
Right.
you've got the surrounding communities. It's not 4 hours away. Like God bless Western Kansas because
It's true. It's so true. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Spread
So
out.
I just think we lack that confidence in ourselves, or like that awareness of like, we are truly lucky to have this. Like, we talk about the city, back to like my iceberg reference, like there's a lot happening underneath our waters that I don't think people have preview to, right? You you see some of the movement that are happening, but there's so much more happening that is not above water. And not everyone needs to know that, but you can know about it here. That's one of the things I learned coming in. I love Nashville. It was great. It was a small fish in a big pond. I love Topeka because I am a big fish in a small pond and I can make waves.
Yeah.
And I know the right people. I can get connected to them. People are wanting to talk to me.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think, we a lot of times don't utilize that ourselves. And maybe we take it for granted, or maybe we just don't realize it because it's all we've known. But yeah, you can do anything in Topeka.
I
that
agree.
You want.
I agree 100%. I like to say that Topeka is like the Wild West in the sense that like there's so much opportunity.
Yeah.
There's like so many things that people are not doing that like you could do. And I mean, it's not necessarily gonna be easy, but like, man, you will have a ton of resources and people encouraging you because no one's doing that thing.
You always got to look for the helpers too, because naysayers are out there, right? Topeka's also very negative. And I think, you don't want to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of people that think they know everything, or just keyboard warriors that want to complain about everything. And real change takes time, it takes effort, and it takes a little bit of guts, right? Like you're going to have to piss some people off. Otherwise you aren't doing it right.
Right.
Yep.
And so but those naysayers are really loud. And so I don't think that it's not cool to love Topeka. Right.
Right.
And that's okay. Lawrence has their own people where it's LFK, and you've got Kansas City, but you've got just some people pissed about what they're doing with the World Cup and the new airport. And, they end up loving it at the end, but at the beginning, it got a lot of pushback too.
Yeah.
And so you have to be willing to hear out and like know that there's going to be a lot of those naysayers. But I think Topeka doesn't get enough credit. Like when this is probably about 4 years ago, actually probably about 5 years ago, because right before we got Plug and Play, I worked at the city, or at Go Topeka, and we had a whole city meeting. This was my first real time like seeing behind the scenes and like the meetings that were happening. And it was a planning committee on what the future of Topeka would look like. And I was a young girl, one of the only females, definitely the youngest. I probably brought the age average down by at least 20 years. So I'm sitting there and everyone's talking, and it was great to hear all their insights. But what I liked the most was they were like, we've been trying to do this and it hasn't worked. So like, Lindsay, what do you want to see?
Wow.
And I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I was like, Topeka needs to have FOMO. People need to be like the fear of missing out of what's happening in Topeka. Like that's my dream for Topeka, is to kind of have that FOMO. And they're like, oh my God, that's so good. Yeah, that's right. And I texted my husband on the side, and I was like, I just said FOMO to a bunch of like politicians with white hair. And he's like, Lindsay, you gotta know your crowd, babe. Like, that's not it.
They're like, what does that mean?
So I had to explain it. And then we're sharing out, each group was sharing out what they had learned. And they stand up and they're like, we need those mofos like Lindsay is talking about. Excuse? I was like, right letters, wrong order, in a totally different meeting. We've got plenty of mofos.
So
we don't need any more
those
mofos.
BOGOs like she's talking about.
Oh, that's funny.
That's hilarious. What would you say is one of the biggest things holding young people back right now?
That's really good. I think we want it to be easy and we want it to be obvious. And easy and obvious are two of the things that anything worth having is not. It's never going to be easy, and it's never going to be obvious.
So good.
And I think we want it to like slap us in the face and be like, here, Lindsay, this is what you need to do. And it won't be that.
Like someone hands it to you.
Yeah. And I think, you're never going to know if it's the right move or not. You're never going to know if it's the right step, but you're not going to go anywhere if you don't take that first step. Like you have to keep moving.
Love it.
You have to make that move. Even if it's wrong, you can always pivot. You can always go back. You can always do something else. But like, if you just I feel like we just freeze sometimes because we're nervous about like, well, what if that's not the right choice? Or what if it could be this or it could be that? And we just get like that freeze. And I feel like a lot of our generation, a lot of young people are in that freeze. Or like, hey, I'm actually okay right now, right? Like, I don't want to take the work. And I get that too. And it might not be your season. It might not be that time. But like, if you want to make something work, it's gonna take that effort.
Yeah.
And you've got to do it. No one's going to do it for you.
Right.
And that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Because I think, I don't know, you see older generations got a lot of handouts, or we think so, right? They don't think so.
Right.
I think they got it. They
walked
had it
to
easy.
School uphill in the snow both ways.
Both ways, baby. Both ways. Like, but it's that like that perception of, well, I think, they had it easy, or it was easier to do it back then. And part of that might be true, but they also were probably dying to have technology that we have now like readily available to do. Right. So I think that we don't know the impact that we can have. And I think I would love to see more people, younger people in leadership positions, or having that ability to have impact. But leadership, I mean, that is what you make of it too, right? Like everyone can be a leader. I think most organizations, if you lead from the bottom up, you're probably the best organization ever, because you're actually the people that are doing the work or having the say.
Yeah.
But
having influence.
Yeah.
You want to hit rapid fire?
Absolutely.
Oh, I talk fast anyways. Let's go.
We got some rapid fires. What is a business that Topeka is missing? That was my initial question.
Oh, that was not confidence. I would love to see like a Soul Cycle or some kind of really cool community fitness brand name. I think we've got mom and pop things, right? Which is great. And there's a lot of like, what do you call it? The
free weights?
Trampoline?
Where you do all the pull-ups, crazy jerking your body around. What's that called?
CrossFit.
Thank you.
CrossFit, yeah.
You got the CrossFits, you've got some yoga classes, you've got that stuff. And I think that's great, but like we don't necessarily have a cycling. We don't have something like that can really build some of that community where people are sharing that inspiration. So
Love it. What else?
Do you have a favorite coffee shop?
Circle has won me over. It's so. Oh look, yep.
Just came from there.
Circle.
Right before this.
Joylight actually was at our expo, and they did a coconut toasted latte, and it was delicious.
Yeah.
So like,
their coffee
love
cart
them.
is
It's
fire.
It's sweet.
It's great. But Circle is something special. I like the rotating menu. Dialogue is always hard not to love dialogue because I've never had a bad day going into dialogue.
Oh,
like you walk in and you're greeted, and the workers there just truly love what they do. And they're like, I got paid today. I'm like, what are you going to buy? They're like, ice cream. I'm like, hell yeah, brother, let's go. Come on. Like, me too.
That's amazing.
So like, we've got
use that free will. Let's go.
We've got really good coffee shops here.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's like when you're a kid and you're like, when I'm an adult, I'm going to buy ice cream every day. It's like, I could do that. I'm an adult.
I forget that. Like, I could do that.
Yeah, I could do that.
Date night.
Yes.
Date night. You and your husband are going out. What are you doing? Where are you going?
Okay. Date night. I love Asian food. So it's usually going for some Asian. So either go to pad thai of some sort. So there, we usually try and cap it off at one of the local breweries. Another, as much as we can squeeze out. No, we usually try and change it up, because coming from Nashville, very much foodie, and I would always try not to have
rotate.
You got to rotate. You got to keep them on rotation. And I always like to try and find the ones that I haven't been to in a while.
Okay.
So yeah,
Love it. How many potholes did you hit on the way here?
I'm a terrible driver anyways, so probably I would probably hit
for the pothole?
I would probably hit a pothole even if it wasn't there.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's always so funny. The infrastructure and the double-edged sword, right? Like you got the potholes, but then you have to shut down the road and have more orange cones around to fix the potholes. And so
both
then
are infuriating.
Both suck.
Yeah.
Both suck. I am a terrible driver anyway, so I'm hitting lots of cones.
My favorite like pothole thing related thing is at 17th and Topeka. Across diagonal from the expo center is this like car shop. And it's like that strip of Topeka just to the south brutal. Is the worst for potholes. It's like a rumble strip. It's just and the sign right on the corner of 17th and Topeka is like, hit a pothole, we do alignments. And you're like,
Brilliant.
You couldn't have placed a more strategically placed,
That's
car place.
Brilliant.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I was spoiled though, like growing up in Texas. So we get the potholes because it's like it's super hot and then super cold and the air contracts and that's what makes the cracks and makes the holes and all this stuff. We don't have potholes, I don't think, in Texas because it's just hot, right?
Dry.
So like I didn't know that was a thing. I'm like, why are there so many potholes? They're like, well, you know how science works, Lindsay. And I was like,
Yeah.
I forget.
I don't think most
Moisture and
people.
temperatures.
I don't think most people actually understand that,
No.
and they just like to complain.
They just
and
they
it's
just
like it's just
see-
the reality of it. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna live in Topeka, you're gonna get them. There's nothing you can do
guess
about
what?
it.
Kansas City also has potholes.
Yep.
Lawrence also has potholes.
It's true.
Yep.
Boston has potholes. Like
That's right.
everywhere has potholes. Again,
Yeah.
that's going back to like our problems aren't a Topeka thing.
Right.
They're national things.
Yeah.
It's just you just don't get out enough.
You
to
don't
know
get out
it.
enough. And that's not their problem, right? It's not. I'm not saying that they have to, but you see a lot of people that one said that they were going to come to Topeka and never leave, and they couldn't wait to leave and they never do.
Yep.
Or you see the boomerangs where they left, they experienced something else, and they're like, oh, okay. And they come back and they're like, this is what it's the people
Yeah.
that make it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
if you've got a good group of people,
Yeah.
you've got like this, that's what life is about, is surround
Yeah.
yourself with people you want to be around. And those people, if I could live in Alaska and I had good people, I'm sure I'd find something I liked about it.
100%.
Right, for sure.
You couldn't pay me to go to Alaska now, but if
100%.
you make it is what you make it. And it's
Yeah.
around the people. And if you've got a few restaurants here, great. Do we have a ton? We could do better, right?
Right.
Like it's the food chain capital of the world. We got all the local favorites. But then I realized it's because we are surrounded by really small communities that don't have any of those. And all they have is mom and pop places. And they come to Topeka for Chili's.
Yeah.
Right.
And so like that put perspective on it. Because I was
Yeah.
like, why do we have so many funny thing? When I first moved here, they do like the best of Topeka lists.
Oh gosh.
Olive Garden won fine dining of Topeka. not only was listed, won. And I had just moved from Nashville and I was like,
Are
talking
you
about
sure
date
it
nights.
wasn't Big Biscuit?
That was, yeah. This was 10 years ago.
Don't get us
So
started.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, lovely, date night, Olive Garden, best
Yeah.
fine dining. So like,
Oh,
we
yeah.
have come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Take me
that
somewhere
really,
nice, like Olive Garden.
Olive Garden, they do have, I mean, never ending soup and salad.
Oh, 100%.
Do you do any home projects?
We are not handy. I would love to be handy.
Okay, well, we'll get your answer on this then, anyways.
Okay.
Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's. Where do you want to go? When
Interesting.
You can pick something
I
up.
always check out Menards first.
Continue.
I
Tell us how great Menards is.
I do.
As someone who's not handy.
As someone who's not handy, they have lots of other things at Menards that also spike my attention. They got a candy section.
They got
They
a
got-
section. You
got
can
a
get whatever you
pack,
want. It's basically Walmart.
That's what, so it's always intriguing to me because I'm like, ooh, there's other things.
Yeah.
And they always have that like 11% rebate that's always going on at some point
Absolutely
in
they
time. Will
do.
I ever send it in? Probably not.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
That's how
even
they
make sense
get
for
you
me to
in
use
there.
it. Then I probably go Home Depot. And I don't know why. But then Lowe's is always my last. But the last thing I purchased was a washing and dryer from Lowe's. So
There you go.
Appliances are cheaper at Lowe's.
Are
That's what I found
they
out.
are.
Yeah.
They are.
What else we got?
I think that's it.
Where could people find you at if they want to find you or reach out or
Yeah.
you know, socials?
We can link. We can like swipe up. We can do.
Yeah.
I've got socials. I've got emails. I'm happy to connect. Like again, I crave that human interaction. I think a lot of people do. So always happy to do lunches, coffees, whatever it is.
You're going to get all of our tens of followers reaching out about business ideas they
Yeah,
have.
that's totally fine. But like, if there's anything I can do to help, okay. My
That
turn
would
to
be hilarious though if people just spammed you with just the most bizarre business ideas. And you're like, what the heck is this?
guys. What is this?
Well, we only have 10 listeners and 2 of them are right here. So
Yeah.
Well, you
there's
got
8.
a third.
And our moms.
There you
I'll
go.
put my mom on.
And our moms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Put
right.
my mom on. Good. Okay, wait. Can I rapid fire you guys?
Yeah,
Please do.
Absolutely.
Okay. What last place you
exciting.
traveled?
Oh, what is the last place I traveled? My memory is so terrible.
I went to Minnesota last week and
Nice.
I'm going to Antigua tomorrow.
Whoa.
Yeah. That was an easy one
Fun.
for me.
Yeah, that was really easy.
I went to Arizona last year. Went to Florida.
Okay.
Trying to
When
remember
you
what
go
else I
there, do you search out like do you always drink at a coffee shop? Do you go out to eat at a place? Like what's your favorite thing to do to explore the community? Like and where do you find out? Do you ask ChatGPT? Do you go to Pinterest? Like TikTok?
I think if I'm going to go out to eat in a place even if I'm going to Lawrence,
Mm-hmm.
like I refuse to eat anywhere that I've already eaten.
Yep.
Right.
Like there's
Agree.
no way I'm going to a chain when I'm in Florida. It's
Right,
like, no,
right.
I'm gonna honestly what I do, we did this on a bachelor trip. I went to it was in the Ozarks, is we were golfing and we just asked the starter, hey, we're gonna go get lunch after this. Where should we go?
That's awesome.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Yeah. We were the same. So actually, we were in Colorado in May, my family, and so it was the same thing. We stayed in this really cool cabin in the woods for a week, and we're trying to find like the most local, coffee shops and brunch spots, and So actually, we met the owner of the Airbnb we were staying at, and he was giving us the lay of the land. He's like, "Hey, this is the best local brunch place. We went; it did not disappoint.
Yeah, it never does.
It's the same thing. So like, we're the same. Like, we want to try to like experience the local life as much as possible.
Sure. Absolutely.
You know, the hiking trails and all those things. So
yeah, my parents aren't like that. I had to tell my mom, we went out to eat last night in Lawrence for one of my brother's birthdays. And she goes, I think we're going to go to Roadhouse. And I'm like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
It's like, how about we go somewhere we don't have in Topeka?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
For them, it's easy. They don't want to think about it, right?
Yeah.
They just want to, like, let me just think of a crowd favorite. They don't want to do any searching. They know that it's a staple and it's going to be fine. But, like, I think that's the difference in the generations is I don't want that.
Right.
I already know that. Been there, done that. Like, let's experience something else.
Yeah, it's like The Office. Like, did you guys ever watch The Office back in the day? Mm-hmm. He goes to New York City and he wants to get local pizza, so he goes to Sbarro's.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, any restaurant you go to, you're telling me you can't find something that you're going to enjoy. Like, maybe it's not your favorite, but it's part of the experience.
Right.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. What's your favorite tchotchke? Like the little like freebies that people hand out. What's the favorite tchotchke you've ever been given?
Oh my gosh.
I'm coming up with hard ones. Sorry. I don't know where that came from. I obviously have no notes.
What are
okay, I have an answer. I think it's not unique, but maybe tell me if this would count. But like notepads, like with a business logo on it. I use notepads all the time.
Okay,
sticky notes. The bigger ones. I have a 9 by 9-inch notepad that I use every day, and I'm ripping things off, sticking it there. Or whenever someone calls me, I take notes as I'm writing. I have like 10 or 11 different ones on my desk at all times.
Okay.
So I love a good notepad.
Fascinating.
I mean, I'll say I generally hate stuff like that. Not notepads, but just like
tchotchke stuff.
Freebie stuff. Yeah, because it's like it stays in the bag. It ends up on my counter for a month, and then I end up like, what is this?
Well, then you have kids and you give it to your kids. It's really good.
Well, that's the thing is like you go, like our kids end up with free random stuff all the time, and it's like, what is this? Like, can we please throw this away? Like, I think the clutter drives me insane. Yeah. Because it's already so cluttered with toys and, books and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something useful. I do use notepads, notebooks. I like to write like with a pen and paper.
Koozies.
Koozies are underrated for sure.
Always nice. I like to be clever though. Like I don't want just your logo. Give me like a clever koozie.
Yeah.
Like, make me want to use it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you talked about home improvement projects. So you guys are handier than us.
I like to consider myself handy.
Okay, so like, what's your latest project?
Oh man, I've been building a lot of stuff for my kids recently. I have a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 10-month-old, all boys. And so I built. What did I build? I wanted to build like an outdoor pull-up bar, like one that you could actually like stretch all the way out, not like one of those doorway ones where you have to like lift your legs up so you don't hit the ground.
I don't have to lift my legs up.
And so I
They're the perfect
got
size.
I got like a 12-foot beam, dug a hole, put it in the ground, concrete it in the ground, and then put the beam across to a tree. And then I put like rock wall stuff. You can attach rock wall stuff to a tree with like straps. And then I like put the rock wall handholds up the beam itself. So there's like the beam, the tree, and the bar. So my kids, and then I got one of those like pads like underneath. So like the kids can climb across the bar, and then if they fall on the pad, and then I got a zip line, hung the zip line. So that was so it like benefits both of us.
Are you training your kids for American Ninja Warrior?
100%.
Yeah.
So like it's fun because I can work out while they're out there just playing around, and so it's like easy to do both, and it's not like like you got free weights. It's like I don't necessarily want my 3-year-old messing around with like a barbell or something, but I could do pull-ups and I have some kettlebells and things. So that was my latest project.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say pass.
Okay, fair.
We're gonna leave it at that.
Just leave it there.
The last thing I paid for to be done.
We're in the same boat.
We put a home gym in my garage. That was fun.
That's awesome.
Paid for that.
Yep.
But yeah,
I feel like this should be a factor in the Home Depot Menards conversation.
No.
Who does their own projects versus who pays for others?
And I asked my contractors, where are you getting your stuff from? Menards? You a Menards guy? And they're all Menards guys.
I highly doubt that.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Okay, last one.
We have as you can see, we have a strong debate about which is better. So yeah.
I want to know how that was.
We have a running tally.
Yeah.
Who's winning?
Home Depot's probably still in the lead, but Menards
Probably.
was catching up. For a
Menards
while.
is catching
Yeah.
up. With your answer, Menards is catching up.
Mine
Yeah.
counts as 2 for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
totally.
It's for whatever reason.
Absolutely.
Okay. Best piece of advice.
In general.
Yeah. That you've either been given or you've heard or you've come across.
With no context. I'm trying
Yeah.
to
It's
think.
a loaded question.
It is. It is. Well, it doesn't have to be. It can be about anything. So I'll fill the air.
Okay.
It was about parenting, and they were like, you have to say no so many times. Don't say no just to say no. And that goes back to my yes thing. But like, I feel like kids a lot of times are like, Mom, can we go outside and run around in sprinklers? You're like, no, babe, like
Right.
just because it's more of an annoyance for me.
Right.
And not
Yeah,
because
it's so
it's
good.
not
Yeah.
it's not because it's not safe. It's
Yeah.
not because, of
Yeah.
whatever. It's just because I am tired, or
Yeah.
it's nothing to do with that. And so that's been on my mind a lot lately, is like, don't say no just because.
Just because,
Like,
yeah.
especially with parenting, you have to say no so many times.
Right.
But like, if they want to do something and like they make you a kid again. And so
Right.
I've been trying to lean into that a
That's
little
so
bit.
good.
Yeah. So
I have one in that vein. When we had our first, my aunt gave us just a great piece of advice. Basically, like, I forget exactly how she said it, but it was basically like, bring your kid along with you in your life. And so, like, don't just like go into a cave, which is, I think a lot of young parents are tempted to, like, oh, we can't do that because our kid's nap time, or we can't go do that because our kid's bedtime is 5:45 p.m., and you're like, just bring your kid along
They
with
wanna
you.
be included.
Like, yeah, include them. Like, go to your friend's house and bring your kids. It's okay. I mean, the more kids you have, the harder that gets. But generally speaking, like, so our first, we brought him everywhere. Like, we would be hanging out with our friends and he would fall asleep in his car seat. And it was, I don't know if that's recommended, but but it was just like, hey, like, we want him to be involved in our life, and not like, we don't just like disappear into a cave and don't have friends anymore, can't do anything. And that was
so
really
good.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Best piece of advice I ever heard, probably what's most relevant in my life right now, is consistency beats talent.
Ooh.
And
that's
if you
good.
do anything
So
for a
good.
long enough,
Yeah.
if you do anything for a long enough, it'll be successful. And so as long as you don't give up,
I would like to test the limits of that.
yeah, there's definitely limits of it.
Principle.
No, but that's so
within
good.
anything long
honestly, you know what was funny is I was reading the book Grit by Angela Duckworth, one of
yeah.
my favorite books.
Fire.
It's kind of dry, but I can sum that book up in consistency beats talent.
Right,
And
right.
what's funny is I was actually talking to David Callan, one of the co-owners, I don't know David, but I ran into him at the gym and was talking to him about what they're doing at the mall. And he kind of was reiterating what that book was saying. And I was asking him, how it's going, what does he think about it, all this good stuff. And he basically said, he goes, Advisors Excel isn't going anywhere. And so as long as we just don't give up, it's going to be successful.
Yeah.
That's
And it was
awesome.
it wasn't like a cocky way of saying
No.
it. It was just the reality of, as long as you just don't give up, like, it's going to work.
Right.
They might have to pivot. They might have to do something different. They might, hit it out of the park from day one, but they're not going to give up. And so
Yeah.
it's going to work.
That's
and so
such a
I
good
think
one.
about that a lot
That
as
is
I'm
great.
trying something and working through, like, delayed gratification on, hey, I'm going to do this with, businesses or whatnot. And as long as I don't give up and, I'm willing to pivot and willing to work hard,
Yeah.
it's going to work. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of when.
I like that a
it really
lot.
is. That's an incredible nugget for people.
So,
Yeah.
cool. Well, Lindsay, thank you so much
Yeah.
for joining us.
Yeah,
This has
Appreciate it,
been-
guys.
This
It's
has
been
been
awesome.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.